And anybody here? Because I do. I mean, anyway, we are privileged tonight to have one of the greatest audio gurus tonight, and here to fix your bad sound. Please welcome from the UK, Mike Thornton.
Hi guys, nice to see you. Oh, yeah. Black and white, me? Okay, fine. Yes. We'll have an N in there, please. Never mind, no problem. Okay, so if we can have our computer, please. So, here we have a Pro Tools project. It's pretty well the way I would have received it from a video editor, so whether you're editing in Premiere Pro, Final Cut X, you do an AF or an OMF export, I pick it up in Pro Tools, and here we go. So we've got our video track, we've got the guide audio mix from the video editor, I've got two tracks here, a camera mic track and a boom mic. And then we've got a couple of music tracks that the video editor track laid for me. Perhaps it's a little bit tinier actually than some of the OMFs and ANFs that I've got from video editors where I found media splattered all over the place, but hey, that's not a problem, we can tidy that up. So, let's just play a little bit of this clip from the beginning, just so you get a sense of what it sounds like.
Christopher Wren was charged with the design of a new cathedral. It was to be handsome and noble to all the ends of it, and to the reputation of the city and the nation.
So there we go. We're obviously at the moment listening to both the mics, so there's a little bit of phasing going on in there. So perhaps now we'll just have a listen to the camera mic just by itself.
Christopher Wren was charged with the design of a new cathedral.
And now if we just have a listen, carry on playing, listen to the boom mic.
All the ends of it, and to the reputation of the city and the nation.
So the boom mic is here, camera mic mounted on the camera, maybe a little bit distant from the audio source. Often when I'm doing audio post-production for content that has been self-shot, they may well have a tight clip mic on one track and the camera mic on the other. And one of the first things I'll do is to go through a project, listen to each of the clips and decide which one is better. So if we have a listen to the second clip please, Matt, and the camera mic.
Several centuries on, even amongst the modern skyscrapers of London.
Typical camera mic problem. The picture's probably well zoomed in, so the camera is a long way away. We now listen to the boom mic.
St Paul's stands out,
which is just above his head.
Iconic architecture.
Much better. So mic placement, I'm sorry guys, but with audio, mic's placement does matter. So you can see there from those two examples how a bit of careful mic placement, still nothing in shot, no tight clip mic in shot, no handheld mic, so it still looks pretty for you video guys, but I've got a reasonably good sound. And then the final clip, Matt, we just play the third one off the boom mic.
The Shard, the tallest building in Europe, epitomises the change in architectural trend.
We've got a police siren in the background of that. There was no time to do another take. We've all had that scenario. Video guy, director is happy with the pictures. Sound, you'll just have to sort it in the edit. Yep, that's our lives. So let's take a look at how we can fix these problems using, in this case, Isotope RX3 Advanced. So looking at the first clip here, we take a look at the camera mic, and we've got a new plugin, a de-reverb plugin. So, de-reverb basically does what it says on the tin. Any UK Ron Seal advert people have got that one? It takes away the reverb. Yes, it does. So, how do we do it? Well, we simply press the learn button and we play the audio.
Christopher Wren was charged with the design of a new cathedral.
So what it's doing here is analysing the reverb, working out how long it is, what's reverb, what's audio, and when we've given it a decent chunk to go at, we can hit stop, take the learn away, and you'll notice that all these controls here have already set themselves to a good start of 10. So Matt, if we now just play that again now with the U settings in, and then we can adjust the amount of reduction.
Was charged with the design of a new cathedral. It was to be handsome and noble to all the ends of it, and to the reputation of the city and the nation.
Just bypass.
Results. Christopher Wren was charged with the design of a new cathedral.
A bit more left.
It was to be handsome and noble to all the ends of it, and to the reputation of the city and the nation. The result,
bypass.
The present St Paul's Cathedral, still the second largest church in Britain.
So we can dry it up.
Dome.
And what's more, just as you video guys can do a video zoom, we can now do an audio zoom, because not only can we with de-reverb actually take reverb away, we can add it. So if we start with the reduction right down the bottom and start playing the track, and then slowly increase the reduction, you will get an audio zoom.
Christopher Wren was charged with the design of a new cathedral. It was to be handsome and noble to all the ends of it, and to the reputation of the city and the nation. The result, the present St Paul's Cathedral, still the second largest church in Britain, and with the dome proclaimed as the finest in the world.
So there we go. The first time I've been able to do an audio zoom on material that has got reverb on it. I could do it before with other reverb plugins if the original was dry, but I could never do it with an original that had reverb. Now I could match a zoom shot with the sound. So that's de-reverb. Oh yes, thank you Matt for that reminder. There is down the bottom here this output reverb only mode, which is really useful. A number of the RX3 plugins, there is this sort of mode, and if we access that and now play the audio, it's playing what it is going to take away. And it's really useful to do that because it makes sure that we don't overdo it. Play that. So at the point at which we start to be able to understand the words, there's words in that, and then we can just reduce the amount of reduction until all we reduce is the reverb.
The result, the present St Paul's Cathedral, still.
So it's a very, very useful way of making sure that we don't overdo processing, and it's a feature that is in a lot of the isotope plugins and modules. Very, very useful feature. So that's de-reverb, and that's new in RX3 Advanced, which was released last week. I hope you will agree that it is very, very easy to use. What I would say with RX2 and RX2 Advanced is RX2 was great for guys who just needed a bit of tidying up. RX2 Advanced was largely for us guys doing high-end audio restoration. That is no longer the case with RX3 Advanced because these advanced modules are easy to use. So let's take a look at the next one. We had this clip with high background noise. Even the boom mic, which was just out of shot, still had quite a bit of background noise. So we now have in RX3 Advanced this new denoising module, a dialogue denoiser. It works in real time. Remember that most of the RX, for denoising, I tended to use RX2 in offline mode. So I would analyze it, give it a bit of audio to learn, process it, bring it back in. With RX3 Advanced and the dialogue denoiser, I don't need to do that anymore. Highlight the audio, select auto, take the bypass button off and play it, and in real time it is denoising.
Several centuries on, even amongst the modern skyscrapers of London, St Paul's stands out as a masterpiece of iconic architecture.
All the
Several
lower
centuries
ambience
on,
now comes
even
back.
amongst the modern skyscrapers of London, St Paul's stands out as a masterpiece of iconic architecture. Several centuries on, even amongst the modern skyscrapers of London.
So you can hear there that in real time, with no latency, so no sync problems, we are able to denoise a clip. Now that's great, that's a great feature when I'm starting to do perhaps more detailed high-end things. I can go into the manual mode, and at this point, yes, I can give it a sample of audio like I would have done. So we can just give it a sample of audio, get it to learn it, and then what I can do is all these points here, they are all automatable, so I could take that profile, put into Pro Tools Timeline or any other nonlinear editor that supports automation, and automate all those points so that just that clip had that style of processing on it. The next clip, which has a completely different noise profile, I can automate that. So we can either leave it running in auto mode, which is really good, doesn't need a lot of input, or I can use the manual mode, fine tweak each clip, but very, very quick, put the automation in, don't have to worry about it ever again. It's still processing in real time. Because one of the problems we've got is we live in a noisier world. Out on location, if you're doing period drama, absolute nightmare trying not to get any sounds on your recordings that don't have contemporary sound on it. Even in a studio now, music shows, entertainment shows, they've got fairy lights for days, all with fans in it. Projection systems, all with fans in it. Our lovely controlled sound stage studio is now full of noise. And to be able to have a real-time denoiser that enables me to clean up the audio very quickly, because again, we've got budgets are all being squashed. We haven't got the time, we haven't got the budgets. It's not as though the budgets have stayed the same with inflation. Budgets are being slashed, and we're expected to do more and more for less money. We can do that now with Dialog Denoiser within our X3 Advanced. So let's move on to the third clip in our little documentary here. Let's just play it again, Matt.
The Shard, the tallest building in Europe, epitomises the...
So we've got a police siren in the background. So how are we going to fix this? Well, we're going to fix this with spectral repair. And again, we can do this with a plugin within Pro Tools. So we go into the spectral repair using the Audio Suite version. We capture it, so we get our spectral repair window. Now, most of us are used to seeing an audio waveform like this. And you can see that there's clearly some noise, but we can't see on the audio waveform the siren. But if we go to the spectrogram mode, now we can see all the words, but here is the siren. Here is it going from where it's and then there's woo, 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 and all that box there, thank you, is all the sirens. So it's really good. It's almost like being able to, so anybody who works visually, anybody who works with Photoshop, you can see how this is displaying the audio. So we've got this x-axis, which is time, so we could display that in samples or in hours, minutes and seconds. On this axis here we've got frequency, so this is the very high frequencies, this is down here is the very low frequencies, and then the brighter the colour, the louder it is. So that's our spectral display, our spectrogram. So we can use the same sort of tool set that you would have in Photoshop to select audio in here. So we can use the paintbrush tool to select this first little section, and then we can use the selector tool to pick up and add to that the rest of that siren. Once we've selected it, we can just hit the repair button. We can now render that back into the Pro Tools project, and now we can go back into Pro Tools and play it.
The Shard, the tallest building in Europe, epitomises the
What are we trying?
Shard.
So one of the things I do in these sorts of scenarios is I may well slightly overdo the noise reduction, take away the background perhaps even more than I would. Remember, this is mono dialogue. I will certainly always be working in a stereo project. I may well be working in 5.1 surround. What I would then go ahead and do is to select my own clean ambience Atmos track layer that in, but I've got control over that. I can now change my background level of my Atmos tracks, knowing that this is now nice and clean, and also open the stereo image out so that the ambience is now stereo or 5.1, depending on what sort of format project I'm working in. And of course, the great thing is, if you've got a project where it is underscored by music, once we